Welcome to HFY Sci-Fi Tales. My name is Muhammad Aqub Rayo, and today I bring you another powerful story from a galaxy that had only recently discovered humanity. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more HFY sci-fi stories. The aliens believed strength could be measured. They believed every species could be placed on a chart, assigned a number, and ranked from strongest to weakest. And when an 18-year-old human boy arrived at their most prestigious military academy, every test placed him at the bottom. Weakest muscles, lowest combat score, worst physical ranking, 48th out of 48 cadets. The academy laughed at him. The instructors ignored him. Even the machines rejected his real test results because no one believed a human could survive forces that powerful. But 3 weeks later, the academy's strongest instructor placed all 4 of his hands against the human boy's chest and pushed with enough force to overturn an armored vehicle. The human did not move, not even one step. The instructor pushed harder. The metal floor cracked beneath his feet. Still, the human remained perfectly still. Then the boy quietly asked one terrifying question. "Sir, should I brace harder?" What happened next forced the entire galaxy to reconsider everything it believed about humanity. 7 hours earlier, Commandant Sarek still believed Noah Carter was the weakest cadet ever admitted to the Orion Coalition War Academy. He was completely wrong. The academy stood on Valor Prime, a peaceful world covered in silver forests, blue rivers, and enormous mountains that floated above the ground. Its gravity was gentle. Its climate was controlled. Its atmosphere had been modified so that 23 coalition species could breathe without assistance. At the center of the planet stood the Orion Coalition War Academy. For hundreds of years, the academy had trained officers, commanders, planetary guardians, and fleet leaders. Only the most promising candidates were accepted. Every cadet was carefully tested. Their strength was measured. Their reaction speed was recorded. Their endurance, intelligence, bone structure, balance, and combat instincts were converted into numbers. Those numbers decided everything: where a cadet trained, who they fought, how much danger they were allowed to face, and most importantly, where they ranked. Commandant Sarek trusted those rankings completely. He had served in the coalition military for 31 years. He believed numbers were more reliable than emotions. Numbers did not lie. Numbers did not exaggerate. Numbers did not become nervous. A number existed. That belief had guided Sarek throughout his entire career. It was also the reason he failed to understand Noah Carter. The new academy cycle contained 48 cadets from 14 different species. The highest-ranked student was Brak Vorn. Brak belonged to the Krathian species, a race of enormous warriors who had evolved on a world with twice standard gravity. He stood nearly 9 feet tall. His shoulders were wider than Noah's entire body. His dark gray skin was covered in natural armor, and his muscles were powerful enough to bend military steel. Brak ranked first in physical strength, second in combat endurance, and third in reaction speed. The instructors expected him to become the leader of the class. The second-ranked cadet was Lyra Sen, a blue-skinned Valari whose brain could process movement faster than almost every other species. The third was Korvac, a reptilian Draxan fighter with a heavy tail and powerful claws. Then came the rest of the class. And at the very bottom of the list was the human, Noah Carter, 18 years old, medium height, athletic build, short dark brown hair, blue eyes, no claws, no natural armor, no second pair of arms, no visible biological weapon. According to the Academy's records, there was nothing extraordinary about him. But several of Noah's test results were marked as errors. His gravity adaptation reading was so high that the machine rejected it. His impact resistance exceeded every recognized Academy category. His muscle output result was listed as inconclusive. The system displayed the same message each time. Reading impossible, probable equipment interference. Result normalized to species average. Because humans were new to the coalition, the Academy did not possess enough biological data to confirm Noah's real results. So the system replaced those results with safer, more believable numbers. Once the corrections were applied, Noah fell to the bottom of every physical category. 48th out of 48. Commandant Sarek opened Noah's intake photograph. The human boy appeared calm. There was no arrogance in his face, no fear. He wore a simple black Earth training uniform and carried one small equipment bag. Humanity had joined the coalition only 11 years earlier. Earth had requested permission to send one student to the academy as part of a military exchange program. Several coalition members had opposed the idea. Humans were too new. Their history was too violent. Their homeworld was classified as unusually dangerous. Earth's military records were incomplete, and the records they did provide were filled with carefully selected diplomatic language. After years of negotiations, the Academy finally accepted one human student. Noah Carter arrived alone. No guards, no ceremonial officers, no famous commanders standing behind him. He was polite during intake, quiet, almost forgettable. Sirac returned to the ranking screen. Beside Noah's name, he added one simple note. Observe during physical training. Avoid pairing with high-force cadets. Sirac believed he was protecting Noah from the others. He did not realize he was protecting the others from Noah. The first warning appeared during the endurance march. The cadets were ordered to cross 30 kilometers of rocky terrain while carrying equipment equal to 20% of their body weight. The exercise was considered difficult by coalition standards. On Valor Prime, however, gravity was low enough that serious injuries were unusual. Instructor Varric led the march. Varric was one of the Academy's most respected combat instructors. He belonged to the Carvosian species. He had 4 muscular arms, 2 powerful legs, dark red skin, and black eyes that could detect even the smallest movement. He had survived several wars. He had trained soldiers for more than 35 years. He was famous for destroying arrogance before it became dangerous. Before the march began, Varric walked in front of the cadets. Strength means nothing without endurance, he said. Speed means nothing without discipline. And pride means nothing the moment your body begins to fail. Brack looked toward Noah. Then the human will teach us a great deal about failure. Several cadets laughed. Noah tightened the straps on his equipment pack. I hope the lesson is useful, he replied. The cadets stopped laughing. Brack's expression hardened. Then the march began. For the first 10 kilometers, the strongest cadets remained at the front. Brack moved quickly, determined to prove that he deserved the highest ranking. Noah remained near the back. He did not appear tired, but he also did not attempt to pass anyone. After 15 kilometers, the lighter species began slowing. At 20 kilometers, several cadets activated mechanical support braces. At 25 kilometers, even Brack's breathing had become heavy. Noah's breathing remained steady. Instructor Varric noticed. The human's pace had not changed since the exercise began. His posture remained relaxed. His movements were controlled. Sweat covered his forehead, but he showed no sign of exhaustion. Varric moved beside him. Cadet Carter. Yes, sir? Do you require medical attention? No, sir. Then why are you walking at the rear? Noah looked toward 2 smaller cadets in front of him. One belonged to a hollow-boned species. The other had developed a painful leg cramp several kilometers earlier. I'm making sure they finish. Varric studied him. You were ordered to complete the march. You were not ordered to supervise the class. Yes, sir. Move to the front. Noah nodded. Then he began to run. He did not sprint, he simply increased his pace. One by one, he passed the other cadets. He passed the injured students. He passed the middle-ranking fighters. He passed Lyra. He passed Korvac. By the final kilometer, Noah had reached Brack. The huge Krathian glanced sideways. You were hiding. No. You expect me to believe you suddenly became faster? I was helping the injured cadets. Brack increased his pace. Noah remained beside him. Brack ran faster. Noah matched him without effort. The final section climbed a steep hill toward the academy gates. Brack's massive muscles burned. His breath came in loud, painful bursts. Noah looked toward him. Are you all right? Brack growled and charged up the hill. Noah calmly followed. They crossed the finish line together. But everyone watching understood something. Noah could have arrived first. He had simply chosen not to humiliate Brack. Instructor Varric recorded the result. But he did not change Noah's ranking. The test measured endurance, not combat strength. That explanation sounded reasonable. It was also the Academy's second mistake. 2 days later, the cadets entered the kinetic evaluation chamber. The chamber contained a reinforced target connected to hundreds of sensors. Each cadet would strike the target. The machine would calculate force, speed, armor penetration, and structural damage. Brack went first. He drove one enormous fist into the target. The impact cracked its outer armor. The chamber erupted in cheers. Brack stepped away proudly. Lyra used a precise strike that hit the target's weakest structural point. Korvac used his heavy tail and nearly tore the machine from its mount. Then Instructor Varric called the final name. Noah Carter. Whispers spread through the chamber. The human finally gets tested. I heard humans hunt predators. I heard humans are physically weak. I heard Earth's weather kills its own population. Noah stepped toward the target. Varric checked the machine. Cadet Carter, the system has selected the lowest military resistance level based on your intake ranking. Noah examined the target. Is that safe? The cadets laughed. Varric's eyes narrowed. For you, yes. Noah looked toward the machine again. I meant for the machine. The laughter became louder. Brack folded his massive arms. Hit it, human. Perhaps your hand will survive. Noah raised his fist. Then he stopped. How hard should I strike? Varric sighed. Maximum safe effort. Noah hesitated. Earth military testing normally begins below maximum. This is not Earth. No, sir. Noah positioned his feet. Instructor Varric immediately noticed something strange. The human did not pull his arm far backward. He did not widen his stance. He did not shout. He simply rotated his hips. His shoulder moved. His fist touched the target. The sound was not sharp. It was deep. The reinforced target disappeared backward into the machine. A moment later, the entire testing assembly tore free from the floor. Metal screamed. Support beams twisted. The target punched through the rear wall and stopped halfway inside the equipment room. Every display went dark. Noah remained standing with his fist extended. A small piece of metal fell from the ceiling. He slowly lowered his hand. I'm sorry. No one answered. Technicians rushed into the chamber. They spent 20 minutes examining the ruined machine. Finally, the head engineer approached Varric. The sensors overloaded before recording the peak force. Varric looked toward Noah. The boy stood silently near the wall. The academy classified the result as equipment failure. Because the machine had recorded no official score, Noah remained 48th in the rankings. But this time Instructor Varric did not accept the explanation. He immediately requested Noah's original intake data. Commandant Serac refused. Training machines fail, Serac said. The machine survived Brack, Varric replied. It had already suffered damage. The human asked whether the machine was safe. New cadets sometimes make arrogant statements. He apologized after destroying it. Some species hide arrogance behind humility. Varric stared at the commandant. You do not believe that. Serac said nothing. Varric leaned forward. Noah Carter knew the machine would break. Are you accusing him of destroying Academy property intentionally? No. Varric's voice became quieter. I am saying he tried not to. That sentence remained in Serac's thoughts long after Varric left. The next major test took place inside the Academy's variable gravity chamber. The chamber could recreate the gravitational conditions of different planets. Most cadets began at standard gravity. Only the strongest heavy world species could remain standing when the chamber reached 3 times the normal level. Instructor Varric ordered all 48 cadets inside. Noah entered last. The cadets stood in rows. Varric activated the chamber. Gravity increased to 1.3. Several cadets adjusted their balance. Noah did not move. At 1.6, the hollow-boned cadets were ordered to leave. At 2.0, nearly half the class withdrew. Brack remained standing proudly. Noah stood several places away, his expression unchanged. Varric increased the chamber to 2.5. Lyra dropped to one knee. Korvac pressed his tail against the floor for support. Brack's shoulders lowered under the weight. Noah looked around. Is something wrong? Brack turned toward him. Stop pretending. I'm not. You think this makes you powerful? Noah looked toward the gravity display. This feels lighter than home. Varric's hand froze over the controls. What did you say? Earth's natural gravity is lower than this setting, Noah explained, but I trained in enhanced gravity facilities. Human military programs use heavier environments. Brack forced out a painful laugh. You expect us to believe your species deliberately makes gravity worse? Noah shrugged. It makes normal movement easier afterward. Varric increased the chamber to its maximum safe level, 3 times standard gravity. Warning lights flashed. Lyra and Korvac were forced to leave. Only Brack, Varric, and Noah remained. Brack's legs trembled. Varric stayed upright through decades of training. Noah rolled his shoulders. This is closer. Varric stared at him. Closer to what? My academy's morning training level. Brack attempted to step forward. His knees struck the floor. Noah immediately moved toward him. He walked normally, not slowly, not painfully, Normally. He reached Brack and placed one of the Krathian's massive arms over his shoulder. Brack weighed almost twice as much as Noah, yet the human carried him toward the exit as if helping an exhausted friend. When the chamber returned to normal, Brack pulled away. "I did not need your help. You couldn't stand." "I would have stood, eventually." Several cadets laughed. Brack turned sharply toward Noah. For a moment anger filled his face. Noah did not raise his hands. He did not step backward. He simply watched Brack calmly. Something in that expression stopped the Krathian. Brack turned away. From the observation deck, Commandant Sirak stared at the gravity data. The intake scanner had produced an impossible reading for Noah. Now Sirak finally understood. The result had never been impossible. It was simply beyond the Academy's experience. There was a difference. By the third week, rumors spread throughout the Academy. Some cadets believed Noah was genetically engineered. Others claimed his uniform contained a hidden power system. One theory suggested the human was actually a machine disguised as a biological student. Instructor Varric disliked rumors. Rumors filled the space left behind by evidence. He decided to provide the class with evidence. All 48 cadets gathered inside the combat chamber. Commandant Sirak watched from the upper gallery. Varric stood in the center of the floor. Cadet Carter, step forward. Noah obeyed. Varric faced the class. Physical strength is not determined by appearance. Today we will test balance, stability, and controlled force. He placed 2 hands against Noah's chest. "You will remain standing. I will attempt to move you." Noah looked down at the metal floor. "Sir, I should warn you, that will not be necessary." "It might be." Several cadets laughed. Varric's expression hardened. "Brace yourself." Noah moved one foot slightly behind the other. Varric pushed. At first he used only 2 arms. Noah did not move. Varric increased the pressure. The human's boots remained exactly where they were. Then Varric used all 4 arms. Muscles tightened across his shoulders. His claws pressed against Noah's uniform. Noah remained still. Varric stepped backward. The laughter had stopped. Again! This time the instructor lowered his center of gravity and drove forward. Noah absorbed the force. The floor beneath Varric's feet groaned. Noah moved less than a centimeter. Then he returned to his original position. Varric released him. "How?" Noah looked uncomfortable. "Humans evolved under unstable conditions. That explains nothing. Earth has earthquakes, ocean movement, violent storms, uneven terrain, and high-impact sports. Our soldiers also train against powered armor and vehicles." Varric pointed toward the chamber entrance. "Bring the resistance harness." 2 assistants carried in a large mechanical frame. The machine was normally used to restrain powerful cadets during medical emergencies. Its cables could pull with the force of a cargo lifter. Varric attached the harness around Noah's torso. "Remain inside the marked circle." The machine activated. The cables tightened. Noah leaned forward slightly. The power level reached 20%, then 30, then 40. At 50%, the machine would have dragged Brack across the room. Noah remained inside the circle. Varric increased the power to 70%. Bolts began vibrating inside the machine's floor mount. Noah looked over his shoulder. "Sir, you should stop." Varric studied the cables. "Are you injured?" "No." "Then continue." The machine reached 80%. A metal support bracket snapped. The cable recoiled toward the cadets. Noah turned instantly. He caught the hook with both hands before it struck anyone. The entire machine tore free from its base. Noah held the cable until its motors shut down. The chamber became silent. Varric looked at the destroyed machine. Then he looked at Noah. Commandant Sirak descended from the gallery. "Cadet Carter," he said, "what is the greatest force you have resisted during training?" Noah thought for a moment. "A moving armored vehicle." Several cadets stepped backward. Sirak's voice remained calm. "What type?" "An Earth infantry carrier." "What mass?" "Approximately 22 metric tons." Brack stared at him. "And you stopped it?" "No," Noah replied. "I redirected it." Lyra whispered from the back of the room. "That is not better." Varric looked at the bent floor. He had spent 3 weeks believing Noah was hiding arrogance. Now he finally understood the truth. The human was not afraid of being hurt. He was afraid of hurting them. Varric stepped closer. "One final test." Commandant Sirak turned toward him. "That is unnecessary. I need to understand." "No," Noah said. It was the first time the human had directly refused an instructor. The chamber became completely still. Varric's eyes narrowed. "Explain yourself." Noah looked toward the cadets. "I do not think this is safe." "For whom?" Noah remained silent. That silence wounded Varric's pride more than any insult could have. The instructor raised all four hands. Defensive position. Sirach stepped between them. "This demonstration is over." Varric looked at the commandant. "You allowed a cadet into my chamber whose limits you did not understand. That is exactly why we must stop. You ranked him last. The scanner normalized his readings incorrectly. You gave me false information. I gave you the information the Academy possessed. And now I will discover the truth." Varric looked at Noah. Defensive position. Noah slowly raised his hands. "Sir, please do not use full force." Varric attacked. He moved faster than most cadets could follow. His upper right arm struck toward Noah's head, while his lower arms attempted to lock the human's shoulders. Noah stepped sideways. Varric caught nothing. The instructor rotated and attacked again. Noah blocked two wrists, redirected another, and moved beneath the fourth. He never attacked. Varric increased his speed. The chamber filled with the sound of claws cutting through air and boots striking metal. Noah moved with calm precision. Every defense left Varric slightly off balance. Every movement created an opportunity to strike, but Noah refused to use those opportunities. Brack watched in disbelief. Varric had survived wars. He had defeated armed raiders. He had trained thousands of soldiers, and the 18-year-old human boy was treating him like a dangerous object that needed to be lowered carefully to the ground. Varric saw it too. His frustration became anger. He stepped backward. "Fight. I am defending. You are avoiding me." "Yes, sir. Strike me." "No." Varric roared and charged. This time he used his full body weight. Noah caught two of his arms. The impact drove them backward. For the first time, Noah's boots slid. Varric felt a moment of triumph. Then Noah lowered his center of gravity. The movement stopped instantly. Varric pushed harder. Nothing happened. The floor began bending beneath the instructor's feet. Noah's expression became concerned. "Sir." Varric continued pushing. "Sir, the floor is failing. Move. I cannot allow you to continue." Noah shifted his hands. He did not punch Varric. He did not kick him. He simply redirected the instructor's own force upward. Varric's feet left the ground. For one impossible moment, the Academy's strongest instructor hung in the air. Then he flew backward. He crossed half the chamber, crashed through a training barrier, and disappeared beneath broken metal. The room became silent. Noah stared at the wreckage. "I think your floor might be damaged." Medical officers rushed toward Varric. The instructor pushed the debris away and tried to stand. One leg collapsed beneath him. The medics caught him. Varric looked toward Noah. There was no anger left in his face, only understanding. "You were holding back." Noah nodded. "How much?" Noah hesitated. Varric gave a small, humorless laugh. "That much. I did not want to hurt anyone." Before Commandant Sirach could dismiss the class, alarms erupted throughout the Academy. White lights turned red. A mechanical voice echoed from the walls. Unidentified warships entering Valor atmosphere. Defensive grid compromised. All cadets proceed to emergency shelters. Sirach's communicator activated. "Commandant, 6 hostile dropships are approaching the Academy. Identification matches the Krovax raider clans." Sirach's blood went cold. The Krovax were not ordinary pirates. They captured military students and sold strategic information to hostile empires. How did they enter the defense network? We do not know. Their lead ship transmitted valid Academy security codes. Someone had betrayed them. An explosion shook the building. Dust fell from the ceiling. Sirach looked toward Varric. The instructor could not stand. The Academy's other senior combat officers were training far from the central complex. Only junior security personnel remained nearby. 48 cadets looked toward the commandant. For the first time in 31 years, Sirach did not know what to do. Then Noah spoke. "How many entrances connect this chamber to the main corridor?" Sirach looked at him. 3. "Can they be sealed?" "The emergency shutters can resist infantry weapons." "Seal 2. Leave the western entrance open." Brack stepped forward. "You do not command this academy." "No," Noah replied. "But someone needs to decide before the raiders reach us." Another explosion struck nearby. Sirach made his choice. "Do it." Security officers sealed the northern and southern doors. Noah moved toward the remaining entrance. Cadets with ranged weapons formed two lines behind the barriers. Heavy species stay at the front. Lighter cadets move to elevated positions. Lyra stared at him. You knew how to do this before the alarm. Earth schools practice emergency response. For alien invasions? No. Fires, attacks, natural disasters, structural collapse. You practice for all of those? Sometimes at the same time. The first Krovax soldiers appeared in the corridor. They were tall insectoid warriors covered in black armor. Plasma rifles glowed in their hands. Noah walked toward the destroyed resistance machine. He lifted one side and dragged it toward the entrance. The machine weighed more than several cadets combined. Brack rushed forward. I will help. Together they turned it into a barricade. The raiders opened fire. Plasma bolts struck the walls. Cadets moved behind cover. Noah ripped a reinforced metal panel from the broken training barrier. He held it in front of himself like a shield. Plasma fire struck the metal. The heat forced Brack backward. Noah continued walking. One step, then another. The Krovax had expected terrified students. They had not expected a human boy walking directly through plasma fire. Noah reached the doorway. He threw the metal panel. It struck 3 raiders and drove them into the wall. Brack charged behind it. The cadets opened fire. The corridor erupted into battle. Noah moved through the raiders without using lethal force. He shattered rifles. He broke armor joints. He threw attackers away from the cadets. One Krovax officer struck Noah's shoulder with an electrified blade. The weapon snapped. Noah looked at the broken blade. The officer looked at it too. Then Noah struck him once in the chest armor. The Krovax flew backward through 2 security doors. Brack stared at Noah. That was your controlled strength? Yes. What does uncontrolled strength look like? Another explosion shook the academy. Noah looked toward the ceiling. Let us hope we never find out. The cadets pushed the remaining raiders toward the parade ground. Outside, a Krovax dropship hovered above the academy courtyard. Its weapons turned toward the main entrance. Sirac saw the cannons charging. Take cover. The cadets scattered. Noah looked up. The dropship fired. He jumped. Valor Prime's low gravity carried him higher than any normal human jump on Earth. Noah landed on top of a stone monument. Then he launched himself again. For 1 second, the human appeared suspended against the sky. Then he landed on the dropship. The impact dented the ship's upper armor. Inside the cockpit, alarms screamed. The vessel tilted. Noah tore open an external maintenance panel. He did not understand Krovax technology, but power systems looked similar in almost every military machine. He seized 2 glowing conduits and pulled. The engines failed. The dropship began falling. Cadets ran from the courtyard. Noah climbed toward the cockpit. He punched through the forward canopy and pulled the pilot away from the controls. The dropship struck the courtyard. Stone shattered. The vessel slid across the ground and stopped only meters from the academy entrance. Smoke covered the area. Sirac rushed forward. The damaged cockpit opened. Noah stepped out carrying the unconscious enemy pilot. His uniform was burned. A small cut marked his cheek. Smoke rose from his shoulders. He placed the pilot on the ground for the medical officers. Brack approached slowly. You brought the enemy back alive. He was unconscious. You could have left him inside. That would have killed him. He tried to kill us. Yes. Brack struggled to understand why that fact did not change Noah's decision. Before he could speak again, every surviving Krovax soldier received an emergency transmission. Their weapons lowered. They surrendered. When Noah damaged the command dropship's power system, it transmitted a shutdown code to the other ships. The invasion ended 12 minutes after the first alarm. That night, Commandant Sirac returned to his office. The academy was damaged, but it was still standing. 21 raiders had been captured. No cadets had died. Instructor Varric's leg required reconstruction, but the doctors expected him to recover fully. Sirac opened Noah Carter's original file. The same numbers appeared on the screen. Gravity adaptation, impossible. Muscle output, inconclusive. Impact resistance, inconclusive. Combat rank, 48 out of 48. Every warning had been present. The Academy had simply translated every warning into a number it understood. Sirac opened the classification protocol. One rule stood at the center of the system. Measurements exceeding known biological limits should be treated as equipment errors unless verified against an officially recognized species baseline. Humanity did not have an official baseline. Therefore, every correct reading had been rejected. Sirac deleted the rule. He replaced it with a new one. Unknown measurements must remain unknown until verified. No result may be reduced simply because it exceeds the Academy's experience. Then he opened the class rankings. Noah Carter remained at the bottom. Sirak considered moving him to first place, but he did not. The ranking system measured Academy-defined strength. Noah had demonstrated something far greater: control, compassion, courage, restraint, leadership, and the willingness to protect people who had mocked him. There was no column for those qualities, so Sirak deleted the rankings entirely. 3 weeks later, Instructor Varric returned to the combat chamber wearing a mechanical support brace. The damaged floor had been repaired. The destroyed resistance machine had been replaced with a larger model designed by human engineers. The new machine carried warning labels in 14 languages. Noah stood before the class. Brack stood beside him. The Krathian no longer mocked the human. No one did. Varric addressed the cadets. When this cycle began, we believed strength could be measured using familiar instruments. He looked toward Noah. We were wrong. The room remained silent. Cadet Carter did not defeat this academy by being stronger than us. He defeated our assumptions by refusing to behave according to them. Noah shifted uncomfortably. Varric noticed. You disagree? I did not defeat the academy, sir. No? The academy changed its mind. Noah looked toward Sirak. That is harder than defeating it. For the first time in many years, Instructor Varric smiled. Today's exercise will measure controlled resistance. He looked toward Noah. You will demonstrate. Noah examined the new machine. What is its maximum load? The human engineer beside the controls answered proudly. Enough to restrain a 30-ton combat walker. Noah nodded. That should be safer. Several cadets laughed nervously. Varric raised one hand. One more matter. The chamber became quiet. The academy previously ranked Cadet Carter last. He looked around the room. From this day forward, no cadet will be ranked until their abilities are understood. Brack folded his arms. And what happens if their abilities cannot be understood? Varric looked toward Noah. Then we learn. The machine activated. Its cables tightened around Noah. The meter reached 10%, then 20, then 30. Noah remained standing. 40, 50. The machine's motors became louder. Brack looked toward the reinforced floor. Lyra slowly stepped backward. At 70%, Noah looked toward the engineer. Is this definitely your strongest model? The engineer's proud expression disappeared. Commandant Sirak watched from the gallery as the numbers climbed beyond every previous academy record. This time, no one called the result impossible. No one blamed the machine. No one changed the numbers. They watched the human. And for the first time since humanity entered the coalition, the galaxy stopped measuring humanity against itself. Instead, the galaxy began measuring itself against Earth. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more HFY sci-fi stories.